Community leaders have used it to find constructive responses to tough challenges in inner cities. Coaches and mediators give it to their clients. People share it with their partners, their adult and teenage children, and their friends and colleagues. One might wonder why Change Your Questions has gained such widespread traction. Question thinking, QT, the heart of the book, takes on an age-old issue. Our ability to be in charge of our own thinking, moment by moment by moment. QT provides skills for observing and assessing our present thinking, including the questions we're asking ourselves, and then guides us in designing new questions for getting better results. In other words, QT helps us think productively rather than reactively, and to choose wisely rather than simply react. Building such a reliable capacity for thinking is central to the skills required for intentional and sustainable change, whether that change is sought in our professional or personal lives. Without these skills, our goals for change may be only wistful slogans that will never come to fruition. Question thinking began with an important moment of discovery in my own life. I was a determined young graduate student working away on my PhD dissertation. Not only did I endure a ruthless inner critic, but criticisms from others often left me in tears. One fateful day, expecting high praise from my advisor for some work I felt great about, I instead heard from him, "Marilee, this is just not acceptable." At that moment, something new happened. Instead of tearfully wondering what was wrong with me, I took a deep breath and, becoming calm and curious, simply asked him, "Okay, how do I fix it?" That simple shift took me from feeling powerless to being confident enough to take constructive action. Afterward, I wondered, could this seeming miracle be turned into a reliable method for myself and others? And so I began. In spite of its power for bringing about genuine, sustainable change, the tools and skills of question thinking are both simple and practical. Readers say that QT provides a natural how-to they find missing in many books on business and personal development. Again and again, readers like David tell me that Ben's story succeeds in showing them how to make real changes so that their own lives are distinctly different and better. Nothing could be more satisfying to an author. The material in this book aligns well with other philosophies and systems for change, such as appreciative inquiry, positive psychology, and emotional intelligence, EI. I've given question thinking workshops for groups that employ action learning programs and in companies committed to becoming better learning organizations. I've talked about it on radio and television. I've also presented this work to my peers in many professional associations, including the American Society for Training and Development, the International Coach Federation, the Organizational Development Network, and the Society for Human Resource Managers. Readers and people in those audiences resonate with the core message of question thinking, that real change always begins with a change in thinking, and most specifically, in the questions we ask ourselves. Stories like this one about Susan help them understand how practical and specific this can be. Susan was a participant in one of my corporate inquiry workshops and asked for help with a dilemma at work. She loved her work, but conflicts with her boss left her wondering if she should quit her job. When I asked what questions she was asking herself about him, she replied, with an edge to her voice, "What's he going to do wrong now? And how's he going to make me look bad?" Clearly, whatever the source of the conflict, Susan's current thinking would render any satisfying resolution nearly impossible. I realized that Susan needed to change her questions if she wanted a better result. When I suggested a new one for her to ask herself,